Nobody wants to work anymore. I hear this all the time in lawn care and landscape Facebook groups. I hear it outside of those groups. I hear it from friends, relatives. And what if I told you that that's bullshit? It is. Everybody needs to work. There's no magic meal ticket out there that, this group of people who would work for your lawn care business are somehow writing that you're unaware of and couldn't also be writing. And there's not like some magical age, work ethic gap, all of this stuff that it's all excuses that people are making because at the end of the day, what this comes down to is people do not want to pay what labor is worth. So that is the key thing. Anytime someone says nobody wants to work anymore, you should hear for the amount that you're willing to pay. Because every one of these little stores that you see with their angry signs about like, we're understaffed because no one wants to work and these millennials are so lazy and all of this whining crap, it's that no one wants to work at your convenience store for $7.25 an hour. I'm in Texas. The minimum wage here is the federal minimum wage. And I'm sorry, I'm not working in your gas station for $7.25 an hour when I could go work at a call center and make $18 an hour. I'm not doing it. So no one wants to work for crap wages. And the thing that's really hard in our industry is that, you can be paying a good wage and it's a hard job depending on, obviously anywhere you're at, the green industry is really hard to work in, really hard to excel in. It's hot outside. People are used to air conditioning, right? But, that's hard. And so that can be a factor that outweighs they might be willing to make $2 an hour less to work in the air conditioning. So let's dive in here because I want to tell you, if you want to hire the absolute best employees for your business, you have to sell your business. Now, I don't mean, you need to go out and sell your business to somebody else. I'm not telling you to give up. We're never going to tell you to give up here on the Lightspeed Lawn Care YouTube channel. But what I am going to tell you is that you have to transition from thinking about interviews as opportunities for applicants to sell themselves to you and think about it as you are selling working at this company to them, right? You need to think about potential employees as prospects. When customers fall out of the funnel, we do not, as good marketers, we don't think, well, those lazy, good-for-nothing customers, they fell out of our funnel. We think, wow, the funnel's our responsibility. We're the ones pushing them through it. We should figure out where the hole is and fix it, right? So it's really easy to get into this adversarial mindset. And you see guys slip into it with customers too, where they do start to blame the customers for not wanting to do business with them in a way that's like, well, that's never going to draw customers in. If you have this attitude that you hate them, you're not going to be able to pull them into the business. So if you have the same vibe with employees and you're not trying to sell them on working at your business, then someone else is, right? Someone else is going to make that sales pitch to them. So you have to market and you have to act the same way as you do when you're trying to find new customers for your business. Same tactics work when you're trying to get employees in the door. So let's talk about the 3 top ways to do it. Before I do that, make sure you've given this video a like so far if you're ready to stop making the excuse that nobody wants to work, and leave a comment down below letting me know the best source of employees that you have found in your market. Okay, the first way that we're going to talk about is getting referrals from your good employees. Now, everybody has a lazy cousin who always needs a job, and we know how that goes. But if you are offering a bonus, maybe $100, maybe more, depending on your business, for someone who gets hired and sticks around for an entire month. I've worked at places that have done 3 months, but good workers know good workers, right? People have friends who are mostly like them. It's that tribal mentality, the Seth Godin thing. People like us do things like this. So these people know good workers. Now, the good thing that you get here is that it is a system that reinforces itself, right? If you help your friend get a job, they feel a little bit beholden to the friend that got them the job, that they need to do a good job. They need to present well, at least for a while. That's not going to give staying power, right? If someone's a bad worker, that extra motivation is only going to keep them on the line for so long before they get comfortable and slip back to who they really are. So this is not a cure for a bad worker, but what it is it means that they're going to be giving 110, 120% during training. So if you know you have a really good training system, then as they relax and get a little bit more comfortable in the business, a medium to good worker is probably going to fall in the good worker range as long as your training is on point. So that is one way to get new employees in the door. The next way, and this is how you'll find the best ones easily, is to run job ads and get a ton of applicants, right? Just more leads in the door means that you're going to be able to sift the good ones out. You're going to go pan for gold, and you're going to get a lot of dross, and you're going to get a lot of gold. I guess you're going to get a lot of rocks. I don't know much about gold panning. I wasn't alive in the 1840s. So the best employees are available in online jobs marketplaces. They know that they're worth more, or they're worth being treated better than the place that they're at currently. And so they're looking. You've got Indeed, Monster, ZipRecruiter, LinkedIn. These people aren't waiting for a job opportunity to land in their lap, right? They're actively looking, and you can pay to get put at the top of the pile. We have another video about doing Indeed ads and the kind of cheat code that I use over there to get to look at more applicants, but only pay for the ones that I actually want to talk to. So we'll link that video somewhere here, and I go over that strategy in detail there that lets you kind of cheat the system there. It's super nice. Okay, if you want your job ads to work, you need to write job descriptions that, just like we talk about anytime we talk about copy, benefits over features. It is not that you pay a variable rate based on performance, right? That sounds super boring. The way that you write that is, are you sick of working faster than your coworkers to then make less money, right? Sell the problem and solution that you are presenting to employees with, a pay for performance system or any benefit you provide in the business. Present the emotional side of it, and then present the facts. People buy with emotion, and they justify with logic, and they pick jobs the exact same way. No one is coming in as a pure, computer to analyze the facts of the job. So you need to be genuine and talk about what makes your company a great place to work. Be respectful. Everyone wants to work for someone who respects them. Treat people with respect when they come in for an interview, or if you do a phone call interview. Ask them a little bit about themselves that is not just, do you know how to push a mower? Are you an idiot? Are you going to show up on time? Like, what I see a lot of times in job descriptions, and I imagine it carries over into the interview, is business owners kind of having a laundry list of the ways that they've been hurt by previous employees in a way that's the wrong kind of emotion. The employee doesn't care about how you feel, right? This potential employee is, if they're looking for a new job, it might be because the place they were working went out of business, right? We're going into a recession. They're scared. They're looking for a safe place to be. And if they wander in and you just have, it's like if you went on a first date with someone and they sat there the whole time talking about their ex, you would be like, man, this person is not over that. And I don't think that I should be in a relationship with them. It seems like they, maybe need to go talk to a professional about how they're feeling and not take it to me. So think about that when you're bringing employees in for interview, when you're writing the job description. This is a sales piece. This is not a Dear John letter to that last employee who left, who you're having to replace now. So the next thing is pay better. That's going to communicate in the market. It's going to get around that if you are the lawn care business that pays the best to their entry-level techs or their crew leads, whatever it is, it's going to get around. People are going to know in the industry that, if you want to get paid well, you go work at Showcase. So the absolute easiest way to find more employees is to pay more. Good employees know what they're worth. They're not going to settle for less. And paying more spreads the word for you. It makes your job ads more likely to work because, when you say we pay this much an hour on the job listing and it's $3 an hour higher than the next closest job, obviously people are going to click that one first. It's going to help you poach some competitors' employees, which we're going to talk about on the podcast. We're going to talk about whether you should poach, spoiler alert, yes, and how you should go about that. Hard work requires good pay. $15 today isn't the same as it was 10 or 20 years ago. And so that, you're going to have to update in the same way you update your pricing because all of your costs go up. The employees' costs have gone up, right? So we need to make sure that they're getting paid enough to feed themselves. And you might say like, well, I'm paying them in exchange for work, not so that they can live. And like, they don't give a shit, right? They don't care. Any of your like excuses around not paying employees enough, they're here to exchange time in order to put a roof over their head and food in their mouth and in their kid's mouth. So like anything you can say that's like, well, 10 years ago it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how far it went 10 years ago. And it honestly, it doesn't matter if they're able to eat lobster every night off of how much they are getting paid. This is a market competition. And if we're going to live in a free market, then we're going to have to put our money into the things that the market demands. And right now, labor, it's the Federal Reserve is doing everything they can to increase interest rates and diminish the savings of Americans. So workers are in a less advantageous position to negotiate. But until that trickles and has an effect, employees have some upper hand here on what they can demand per hour. And your pricing needs to reflect that. And you're going to, you might lose customers. You might lose employees who go jump ship and take a job that updates the pay appropriately. So your employees want to work, they want to work hard, and they want to be paid in a way that connects with that hard work. And I think the best way to do this that aligns their incentives with the goals of the business is a pay-for-performance system. So just real quickly here, the 3 things that we went over today. Having a referral program and not word of mouth, right? We talk about this on the marketing side all the time, that your referral system for employees should not be, hey, tell us if someone wants a job. It should be, hey, here is a 1-to-1 reward. If you refer someone, we hire them, and they stay for a month, you get $100, you get $300. Whatever a new employee is worth to you, throw it at that employee. What you would have spent in hiring ads to bring that person on board, give it to that employee as a bonus. The second one is job ads. Running job ads, making sure that what you've written in the job description is a sales piece, not a dry, boring explainer of the job. You are convincing this person to apply. The next piece of action we want them to take is to apply. And then finally, pay better. That is your best, I'm usually against relying on word of mouth. Paying better is one of those things that works better in your paid ads. It works better in referrals. It's a benefit that feeds all of the other benefits. So we love when that is a thing. When we can do one thing in the business, one lever we can move that makes a bunch of other levers perform better. That is really, really helpful to us. So, hey, I know that I might have been hard on you. I might have put words in your mouth in this episode, or you might have heard me say something kind of, derisively about something that you've said a bunch of times. And look, you're never going to agree with me 100%, right? We're 2 different people. We have 2 different lives, all of that good stuff. But that's why this YouTube channel is here, right? I'm not here to I want you to do better in your business. I want your business to be better. I want it to provide for your family better. I want it to provide for your employees and their families better. And sometimes I'm going to say things that are going to rub you the wrong way, right? And I'm saying it because I think that these are the vegetables that the industry has to eat that are the only way that we're going to improve and get that professionalism that so many of you already embody, and we just need the world to catch up in its estimation of the industry. So I really appreciate you for watching. If you made it all the way to this point, make sure you're subscribed. And if you disagree with me, fire off in the comments. I would love to talk to you down there and probably rope it into a future episode. You make a good point. I'm more than happy to revise what I've said. All right. Hey, thanks so much for watching. I will see you next week.